Hi, I'm terrible at making YouTube videos. So this has been a long time coming. I think it's been like 5 or 6 months since I've made a new YouTube video. I actually had content recorded and then I had a memory card that got deleted. So I recorded this video already, but the footage got deleted. So now I'm re-recording it. This is my my review video of Visible aligners. I use Candid, and I want to kind of share the things I wish I knew and my top tips when it comes to getting aligners, because when I first shared my YouTube video, and I've been sharing on my Instagram about my journey with the aligners when I first started, I had so many people asking like, how was it? How is it? You know, if you're following me on Instagram consistently, you would have seen me share that journey, but I know not everybody's just like sitting there like watching my Instagram all the time. So I wanted to make this video to kind of share my experience with them, things I wish I knew when I got them. These are gonna be my top tips. And I got hit in the mouth by my dog, Ned, the other day. So my lip is a little bit swollen and I feel like I'm talking a little bit funny, but I have my retainers in now, and I'm going to kind of show you like a before and after a little bit about what my teeth look like when I first started, because as you can see, I'm gonna take my retainers out. Super gross, sorry. Sorry. Anyway, I'm so, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm so proud. I'm not proud of my teeth. I'm just really happy. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. I'm just really happy with how my teeth turned out. As you can see, they're pretty straight. I have like one tooth, like this one, or that one, that's like still kind of back, but they're pretty much perfect. My top teeth are straight. The only thing is I had this one tooth that like, I feel like didn't come forward like I wanted to. Next time I go to the dentist, I'm gonna kind of see if there's any kind of thing I can do to just get that one tooth forward. I'm not worried about it right now. Might try to do it before I get married, which I haven't done any kind of videos about the fact that I got engaged. I'm not even wearing my ring. I just took a shower, so I need to go put my ring on. Hold on one second. I got engaged since the last time I did a video, I think, maybe, I don't know, but I got engaged, so that's pretty exciting. I'm definitely happy that I decided to do these aligners before I got married, because it's just one of those insecurities that I had, and I'm just so happy with how they look. Oh, I'm just so excited. Let me share my top tips with you over my phone here, because I have notes, because there's no way I'm just remembering off the top of my head. So this is just my personal experience with them. I know everybody has a different experience. This isn't like medical advice or anything like that. Let's go into the things I wish I knew. So I'm gonna give you like the thing I wish I knew, and then I'm gonna give you a tip to kind of help with that. Number one is I just didn't realize how big of a commitment it was. I know that might sound silly. It was just something I didn't really realize. And they need to be in your mouth pretty much 24/7. The minimum required time every single day for the extended period of time, it depends on how bad your teeth are, I guess. My time allotted was 7 months that I had to wear my aligners, and you get a new set of aligners every 2 weeks. So I'm not gonna go into much of the details about how it all worked, because I already made a YouTube video with that about like when I first got my aligners. So I talk about how it works, the details, all of that fun stuff. But you get aligners every 2 weeks, so you wear them in your mouth for 2 weeks, and then you switch to new ones. The only thing about it is when you get them in the first few days, it's extremely painful. My mouth was cut up pretty much in the first, I'd say 2 to 3 months was the worst. After that, I feel like my mouth started to get used to it, and it wasn't as much of a big adjustment. I'd say the first 2 to 3 days of each 2 weeks is the worst. The other 10 days or whatever is not as bad. It's just those first 2 to 3 days that are really rough on your mouth, because you're getting adjusted to everything and all that stuff. And I'll talk about my tips when it comes to that. But yeah, I would say number one is just realize how big of a commitment it is, especially for how long you're gonna be wearing them in your mouth. Minimum 22 hours a day. And those other 2 hours are when you're eating. So don't stress too much about it. When I first had the aligners, I was really stressed out about like making sure it was in my mouth for 24 hours or 22 hours a day. I was like, you know, setting a timer. Now you can still do that if you want, because you want to make sure that you're not just like, oh, whatever, it's not a big deal. I eat 5 or 6 times a day. I would set a timer and try to eat around 20 minutes at a time, so that would equal to about 2 hours that it was out of my mouth, so I would get to those 22 minutes. So anyway, the second thing is that you have to brush your teeth constantly. Now, I will be honest, the beginning of my journey with the aligners, the first like 2 months, I was super adamant about brushing my teeth, flossing my teeth, because they say every time you eat and you put your retainers back in, you have to brush, you have to floss, rinse out your mouth, rinse out the retainers. First 2 months, I was doing that, but then after that, it was just a lot. Again, another thing about how big of a commitment it is to have to brush your teeth after you eat every single time. It was just like, you know, going out to eat, going to festivals, like just being out to eat with friends. Like it's just kind of a pain in the ass because like, let's say I was out to dinner with friends and we're like, you know, drinking wine or whatever. And if you're drinking wine, you can't have your aligners in because it'll stain them. Like if you're drinking coffee, if you're drinking wine, if you're drinking all that stuff, you don't have to necessarily, you can't have hot liquid, so you couldn't drink hot coffee. But if you're drinking like iced coffee or wine or anything like that, they say 2 weeks of doing it shouldn't stain them. But if you're a heavy like drinker of those things, it's probably gonna stain them. So I would keep them out. But then like, let's say you're out to dinner and you take your aligners out and then you're drinking wine and eating with your friends. Like you can't just like sit after you ate and just sit there and talk with your friends. Like you got to go to the bathroom and you got to brush your teeth. So it's just something to keep in mind that like I didn't even really, there's so many things, situations that I didn't really think about. I just want to relax after, and it might not seem like a big deal, but like I feel like the aligners were always on my mind because they were consumed with every situation. I had to know where they are. I had to make sure my teeth were brushed. I had to put them back in because you can't leave them out for too long. What I recommend is buying one of those mini, I don't like that they're plastic. Maybe there's like another way to do it. But when I first did it, I remember like the second night I had my aligners, had went to a baseball game and I actually brought toothpaste and toothbrush with me. And I was like brushing my teeth in the bathroom of the baseball game. So that was fun, but I didn't do it after that. I just recommend those little tiny like travel toothbrushes where they have like the little dot of toothpaste in it and you like just like start brushing your teeth with it. It has like a little floss thingy. Those were really, really helpful during this process because I could just have them. I didn't need toothpaste, I didn't need water, I didn't need all that stuff, and you could kind of like get all the stuff out of your teeth. I highly recommend using those for the period of time that you have the aligners because they're just super helpful. And also bring floss with you. Now they say that you should floss your teeth after you eat before you put your aligners in. I just saw them dead in the corner. Sorry, I got distracted by him. They say you have to floss your teeth after every single time, but I will be honest, I did not do that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but it was just a lot to have to floss my teeth 5 or 6 times a day. It was just a lot on my gums. So I try to make sure that I flossed in the morning and I flossed at night. Or if like I ate something like chicken wings or something like that, I made sure that like I flossed. That was really it. Number 3, having the aligners causes dry mouth and it hurts a lot. Every first 2 days of the aligners really hurt. So it's kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to that because I feel like it was good because I was drinking a lot of water, but talking for long periods of times with the aligners in was really hard. I was constantly just like feeling like there was so much saliva, and I feel like I have a lot of saliva anyway. I always have since I was a little kid. I don't know why, I've just always been that way. I feel like I have like overactive glands or something because like sometimes I talk, I spit when I talk, and I just feel like I'm always swallowing. So with aligners, it makes it even worse, but it's weird. It's like I'm drooling a lot, but I also have dry mouth at the same time. Very frustrating, but it was just one of those things that was kind of a big pain in the ass. In order to help with that, there's 2 things, and I wish I had them with me, but again, I don't have them anymore because I just have my retainers versus the aligners, which I'll explain in a second. But dental wax is everything. I had shared on my Instagram how much pain I was in. When you first get your aligners, and I'm gonna talk about this in my next tip, your aligners are kind of like, I guess the way they produce them, they cut them and then they send them to you. They're a little bit, not like they're sharp around the edges, but they kind of need to be filed down around like the aligners, like these edges where they're like at the top of your gums, like here and here. They really mess up the inside of your lips, on your cheeks and on your tongue. A lot of times my tongue would be swollen or like bleed a little bit. I had marks in the inside of my mouth, and it was always every 2 days of the aligners. Another slight tip with that, I recommend, I know this might be hard, but I recommend that you don't plan anything. And again, these are things I wish I knew. You don't plan anything the first 2 days of each new set of aligners. So if you know that every 2 weeks you're gonna get a new set of aligners, the first 2 days of those first 2 weeks, don't like go out to dinner with friends you haven't seen in a while. I made that mistake, and it's hard because you're obviously gonna talk a lot, talk to your friends, and the more you talk on the first 2 days is really hard. So like when I would have my aligners in the first 2 days, I wouldn't talk as much on my Instagram story. I would just try to not talk in general. I would like even let Pat know like, I have my aligners in these first 2 days, and he'd ask me questions and I would just be like just to let him know that like I can't talk because it was so painful. The dental wax is this wax, you can buy it from Amazon. You can usually get it like CVS, but the CVS brand was terrible. It always disintegrated in my mouth. It's like this kind of like waxy substance that comes in like these little like tubey things, and you can mold around to put on the edges that hurt the most. So for me, my aligners, when I would put them in, and these probably look gross, sorry, but this part, like the back side of the aligners and on the sides right here, and then in the front, so like right here and right here where the aligners are, I would have the most pain. So I'd take the dental wax, and you have to make sure you have dry mouth, or you have a dry mouth. So I would take like a towel and I would just like dry the inside of my lips. I would like swallow. You have to kind of swallow a few times. And then if you take a deep breath, like, and then put them in there. I know it sounds complicated, right? But again, this is why I'm making this video, just so you know what you're getting yourself into. And then I put the dental wax, because if your mouth is wet, you can't put your aligners in with the dental wax. So I'd make sure my mouth is all dry, take in a deep breath, kind of hold my breath, and then put them in and like mold it to the front. So then as I close my lip is going against the dental wax, not the edges of the aligner. So that just helped a lot. And you don't have to use the dental wax every day, but I would use them the first, second, maybe third day of my aligners. It just kind of depended. Oh, and so there's these other things. I actually think I have them. Okay, so there's these, okay, these are actually not it, this is chalk. But they honestly look exactly like these. But you're gonna get in your package with your aligners, and you can always, I did mine through Candid. I just liked Candid, I feel like it was a better experience. And when they send you your retainers, they send you these things called chewies. If you ever run out or lose them, you can just contact them and they can send you them for free, or you can get them on Amazon, but they're called chewies. And when you get your new set of aligners, in order to set them, you have to chew on the chewies. They literally look like this, but they're made of like a spongy material, but like a hard spongy material. Your aligners, every time you get a new set, they're obviously shifting your teeth. So when you put the new ones on, you kind of have to like push, and you'll feel them like click into place, because they're literally moving your gums. So when the liners go on, they start to make your gums soft. The muscles and the tendons in your gums, like down here, they start to make them soft so it can move your teeth. So each time you get a new set of aligners, they're a little bit more straighter each time. So when you put them on, they're not gonna set perfectly in your mouth. So you have to put your top on, you have to put your bottom on, and then you take your two chewies, you put one in the back of your mouth here, and the other one back here. And then you kind of like squeeze, and it fucking hurts so bad, so painful. I would get teary-eyed. Not that I was crying, but it would just like make me tear up. And you kind of have to like bite until you kind of hear it snap, and then you know that they're in place. And I keep them in my mouth for about 20 minutes, and I move them around. So I would chew like I would chew in all spots. So you're kind of like locking it in, locking it in, locking it in. And I would really squeeze in the back, because for me, that was always the hardest part. Like the back part would never fully go on my back teeth. And I don't know, I have like really small back teeth. I don't know if that's just me. I like always looked at like online to see if there was like a problem, but whatever. But I always tried to make sure that I like chewed in all the places. I would do that for about 15 or 20 minutes each time I got a new set. Now, you don't have to do that like, you know, every single day or the first, second, third day. You only have to do that on the first day when you get your new aligners. You have to do that for about 20 minutes, and you have to do it like 5 times. So I would do it multiple times throughout the day, but you do start to drool, which is kind of annoying. And sometimes I would just chew them, because it actually helps take the pain away. It's painful at first, but it starts to kind of massage your gums, and it brings blood flow to your gums, so it can kind of help with the pain. The last thing with the chewies is that when you do that, you kind of have to commit to knowing that the retainers are gonna be in your mouth for a while. So if you're about to eat lunch, you're gonna put them in, don't do that. Now, with that said, when you put your aligners in, you always wanna put them in at night, so you go through a whole night of sleep with the retainers in, because I will be honest, the first day of having your new aligners in those first 2 weeks are always super painful. I barely can talk, it hurts, my teeth hurt, because your teeth are shifting, the muscles and the tendons are shifting. I recommend when you get your new set, do it right before you go to bed, and do that chewing for 20 minutes. When you wake up in the morning, they're gonna be a lot more, you're gonna basically have gone through the pain while you're sleeping. Still gonna be sore in the morning, but it'll just help a little bit with that. I usually would wake up in the morning, pop them out, brush my teeth, and then I would brush the aligners, and I just brushed them with soap. Regular, normal hand soap. I get like the regular bar soap from Whole Foods, just because it's like the most natural kind. And I would have a specific toothbrush that I would use, because you gotta brush, the plaque gets really in on the sides, on the tops here, and like in there. So I only brush the aligners in the morning, because they've been in your mouth, they're really gross, they're just sitting in there all night, so I just brush them. Moving on. You have to file down the edges of your new aligners. So when you'll have, like I had 14 set of aligners, because I was doing it for 7 months. So you open up the new bag, and I literally take a nail file, and I file down the edges. I did not know this, no one told me this, so when I did my first month, my mouth was so cut up. My tongue was swollen, my mouth was swollen. I kept biting my tongue because my tongue was so swollen, it was awful. And then someone said, every new aligners, I just would sit, literally watch TV, because it took me like 20 minutes, and I would just file. And you wanna make sure you don't file too much, because then you can change the shape of aligners. These edges are kind of like, you can tell that they've just been like created. So you kind of just like gently file. What I would do is I would go in a circular motion. So you're not like, because if you file back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you're gonna end up making a sharp edge. So I just kind of like would go in circles just to smooth over the edges. Yeah, so that's that. Number 5. Now this is for my people. I know I have an audience that struggles with eating disorders. So for me, something I didn't know was that it was gonna cause binging or binging tendencies. So I talked about kind of how I had a little bit of anxiety when I first started using them, because I was like, oh my God, these are about to be in my mouth for basically 24 hours a day for the next 7 months. And it kind of freaked me out because it was so painful. And it was like, cause I have a little bit of claustrophobia too, and it felt claustrophobic. It felt like I knew I could take them out. I can't even imagine what braces feel like, but I was like, oh my God, these are gonna be in my mouth. The thing about it is that since you have to keep them in your mouth for the majority of the day, you can only take them out when you're eating. A lot of times, and because my mouth would hurt so much, a lot of times when I would go to eat, I would go longer periods without eating because I didn't feel like having my teeth hurt, then having them in and then taking them out and then having to put them back in and brush my teeth and like all the things in there. So sometimes I would just be like, I don't feel like eating right now. Then I would go a little bit longer without eating. And because I had gone so long without eating and I knew I only had a 20-minute window to eat, it would kind of make me be like, it was almost like I was restricting. So I was kind of in this binge tendency of like, oh my gosh, you only have a little bit of time to eat all the food that you can. So I would like almost overeat because I was so excited to be able to eat that it was like kind of a pain in the ass. I just reminded myself that the reason why I was going long was not because I was restricting. It wasn't because I was trying to lose weight. It was simply because I had to wear the aligners. And I know for some of you who don't struggle with eating disorders, like you're like, that seems stupid. Why would you even worry about that? But for those people that get me, you get it. I probably don't even have to explain it. But I just kind of had to have that talk with myself. And that didn't last past like the first 2 months. Once I kind of like figured out myself, because I feel like there's a lot of figuring out to do in the first 1 to 2 to 3 months. So you will be totally fine. But it did cause me to snack less once I got the hang of it, because I was just like, I don't feel like taking my aligners out. And like sometimes that'll happen now, because now I have the retainer. The aligners help move your teeth. Once you're done with the aligners, you get a new set of retainers every 6 months, and that just helps keep your teeth in place. So once I did my 7 months, the next 6 months after that, so I'm basically in month 6 right now. I think it'll be done either this month or next month. This is March right now. I have to still wear them 22 hours a day, but after the 6-month period, I think sometime at the end of March or April, I only have to wear them at night. But if I keep them out for a longer period of time and I put them back in, they do kind of shift a little bit. So it's crazy how quickly your teeth shift. Anyway, so next thing, and I kind of already talked about this, but one of the other things I wish I knew is just the inconvenience of just wanting to sit after a meal without having to go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. Like being out with friends, you know, going to events, things like that was always a little bit difficult, but I already talked about that. 7th thing is I drank less water because of the dental wax in the first 2 to 3 days of my aligner. So I kind of talked about the dental wax, but something that was difficult was I found out that I was drinking less. When you have the dental wax in the first 2 to 3 days of your aligners, when you drink water, your mouth's really wet, the dental wax can start to loosen up and then it falls out of place. So I would actually drink less water because I didn't want the dental wax to move out of my mouth. So that was kind of an issue. The tip I have for that is to use a straw, because the straw is kind of just sending it back into your mouth without you actually like chugging the water. So there's that. The 8th thing I wish I knew was do not eat crunchy food right after taking out aligners, and especially the first few days of that. Like I would say if you're getting new aligners every 2 weeks and then the last like 2 to 3 days of those 2 weeks, your teeth aren't as sensitive. But when you get new aligners and you put them in and you do that whole chewy thing, you gotta lock them in, they gotta hear that snap, and then you're in there, you're kind of like good for a while. The last thing you wanna do is take them out, because you have to actually like force them off your teeth. And sometimes it was hard for me to get them off. Like I'd really have to be like, to get them off. Something I made the mistake of doing is I would eat like an apple or like try to eat bread and like pull the bread apart, or anything that was like crunchy or you had to kind of use your teeth to eat, like a carrot or something like that. Oh my God, it felt like my teeth were gonna fall out. Don't do that, because your teeth are very loose and sensitive and wiggly. I would make sure that I was just like drinking my shake or having something that was very soft in terms of food, because it just hurts really bad. And you have to like be aware of that. It might seem obvious that I'm saying this, but I promise you, you'll have your new set of aligners, take them out, and you go to like bite an apple, not even thinking about it. And then you're gonna be like, oh, because it doesn't even hurt your teeth. It hurts like all down here. It's just, it's so much pressure. So don't do that. Okay, number 9 is they're gonna make your teeth look really weird in pictures, especially when you're getting towards the end of the 2 weeks. Every time you get a new set of aligners, they're very clear. They don't have any plaque or grossness on them, so they're pretty clear. But like, I went with friends to a bachelorette party, and we were taking pictures, and sometimes I would forget to take my aligners out, and in the pictures, my teeth look like opaque and like kind of yellow, because you can see the difference between my top teeth that don't have aligners in. Like, it's a huge difference, and it makes your teeth look weird. So you kind of have to remember that when you're taking pictures, if you're gonna smile with your teeth, you need to just quickly pop your retainers out. I would like hold them in my hand and just be like, smile, and then put them back in. Might be gross, but whatever. When you take them out, you're supposed to rinse them with water, because like me taking them out and letting them sit here is supposedly not good. So I just like to like rinse them a little bit, because like the plaque can like, I don't know, something like with the air. I read something, I forget. But just make sure you rinse them consistently. And you can carry like a brush around with you, but you just have to know they're gonna look kind of weird. So just remember to take them out when you're taking pictures if you don't want your teeth to look weird. Because there's some pictures I have from that bachelorette weekend, and it looks like I like have rotting teeth because of the aligners. They're clear, but they're not completely clear. Number 10 is festival life is hard. I know that's not gonna connect with everyone, but I know my audience is really big on festivals and going to shows. Shows are one thing, but like festival life is kind of hard, because like I went to a few festivals last year when I had the aligners, and like I went to Electric Forest, that's a camping festival. You get ready at your campsite, you have everything good to go, and then like just to like grab a snack, like eat something quickly, you have to take your retainers out, and then you have to eat, and then you gotta go brush your teeth, and then you gotta rinse your retainers, then you gotta put them back in. So it was really hard when we do that, and then we go into the festival, and if I just want like a quick snack, or I wanna eat, like it's like, oh, if I don't have a bag, or I gotta make sure I have my retainer thing, and then I give it to Pat. It's like this whole complicated thing, and it's not the end of the world. I don't wanna make it seem like, because I would do it all again, because I'm very happy with the way my teeth look, but it just, again, I'm just like hoping to let people know and like get you prepared to know how much of a commitment this is, because again, I didn't really realize it until I went through it. So if you're gonna go to festivals, if you're gonna go camping, if you're gonna go to an event where you're kind of like not gonna easily just be able to go to the bathroom, like being in a porta potty, I can't brush my teeth. So it just makes it a little bit more difficult. So sometimes, and this was just something I did, I don't necessarily recommend it, there would be times when I'm at a 5-day festival where I'm like, I'm just not wearing my retainers today. So I'd wear them all in the morning, and then right before we would leave to go into the festival for the day, I would put them in like their holder and keep them at the campsite. And then I would go to the festival, and when we came back later that night, then I put them back in. You're not supposed to leave them out for that long, but my teeth are fine. I was just over it at some points, and I was like, I just wanna be able to not have these freaking things in my mouth. But of course, when I went to go put them back in, I'm like, ugh, and kinda gotta shove them on there to move your teeth back over again. I'm not recommending you necessarily do that, and Candid people, if you watch this, don't kill me, but that's kind of what I did. What else? Make sure you get a container. The aligners, when I did with Candid, comes with like a retainer holder, but they have some on sale on Amazon, and I feel like I would have used them more. But there were times where I would forget to take my container, and then I wouldn't have them, so I'd have to wrap, like we'd be at a restaurant, I'd have to wrap them in a napkin and like keep them to the side or put them in my pocket. There's the chance of them breaking. You could lose them. That happened to me twice, and in order to replace them, I think it's like $150 or $50 per thing. I forget exactly what it is. So it's not necessarily cheap. Luckily, each time I lost them, it was always like at the end of the 2 weeks, so I just went into my new aligners, which always hurt more, but I was very lucky I never lost them at the beginning of the 2 weeks, because in order to do that, you have to call them, and then they have to ship them, and it's like a whole process. So just make sure you have your container. It just makes it a lot easier to walk around with them. And you might not be a hot mess like me, but if you are, just know that. And then the last thing is to remember that it's gonna be worth it. Like I already said a bunch of times, I'm so happy with how my teeth turned out. I feel like they look so great. If you can see the video from the last time I did it, they were a hot mess. It was so worth it. It might be a crazy thing, but hopefully watching this video will just help you be aware of it. And I think if I was more aware of all those things, it would have helped me out. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any questions about Candid, about any aligners, maybe something I didn't talk about, please let me know. I'm really happy with the process, and I know that you will be too if you decide to do it. So, and oh, one more thing. I hope I'm more consistent with my YouTube videos. This is the restart of my videos. So thanks for sticking in there with me. Peace out.